Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to Breakdown. And today I have an interesting topic and I want to talk about with everybody. That's my old pop. Let me find my old pop. Let me find my new pop. And I'll get to talking. But anyways, let's talk about something real quick that I just it came to fruition to me a few minutes ago. I wanted to shoot the video, get it done with. Let's get it on and pop it. And it kind of is an interesting thing that I thought about. And you know, nowadays in movies, they can't come up with any original ideas. They always got to do things, rehash things over and over again. Wrestling is notorious for this. They will constantly rehash old storylines, and sometimes you'll recognize it, and sometimes you won't recognize it, because maybe it was done such to a degree that maybe it wasn't done well enough in the past, and they do it better the second time, or vice versa, they do it worse than the first time. Or it's something that they did like in a long time ago, maybe in a different kind of setting and time. But wrestling does it a lot. So it got me to thinking, NWO is supposedly going to have some kind of reunion or whatever somewhere, probably like a Comic-Con or a local con or something like that, probably in a major city or something. And they'll be able to make probably a decent amount of money just showing up to it. Probably they'll get appearance fee and probably make money off autographs or something like that, being there. And they'll make a decent chunk of change just showing up. But it wouldn't put past me, the WWE, to do something like that. And today I kind of thought, like, who would I? If I were to bring back the NWO, you know, it couldn't be Hall, Nash, and Hogan. It couldn't be. Because they're too old. They can't do it nowadays. Not in today's wrestling. But I think if I could rebook the NWO, reboot, so to speak, who would I pick? Who would I put in an NWO nowadays? And who would they kind of put their stamp of approval on? And the more I think about it, I'm like, it could work. It really could work in a storyline, really. And the first thing I would do, you know, it had to be on Monday Night Raw. But I think it would cross brands. NWO would be both brands. Because it's the only way it would work. Because technically, if you want a brand like the NWO to completely work, you want them to be outside the system. You want it to be legitimately on both shows. So you would make all these superstars that's going to be in the NWO cross-brand superstars that they would show up every single night to both the brands. Even sometimes the main event, which it's taped anyway on one of the shows, so it would work anyway. But the first thing I thought about is, you know, Monday Night Raw happens after a big pay-per-view, whenever they decide to do it, maybe after SummerSlam. It would be maybe a proper time to do it. And you have, you know, Hogan, Nash, Hall, they all come out. And maybe it would mask the thing that's going on with Hogan right now. Them coming out as the NWO, because they would get a big pop for the NWO music. And I think people would ignore the Hogan thing just because of the NWO. And have him come out and have Nash. Don't have Hogan say a word. Don't have Hall say a word. Well, I mean, maybe Hogan and they'll have say a few words. Have Hogan say a few. But have Nash do most of the talking. And have Nash turn around and say that it's time that we pass the torch on. And have them all take off their NWO shirts. Or have them rip them off and throw them on the ground. Then have Hogan step forward, and he has a bag with him. Have him carry like a bag, or maybe he has a fanny pack on, or maybe they all have a fanny pack on, and they take a shirt out of it, and they're like, "But we will have replacements by the end of the show. The NWO legacy starts again tonight." You see him take shirts. Put them on the announce table. 3 shirts on the announce table. They walk out. People are like, what the hell is going on? You have it start. But they say in the promo that by the end of the night, you will find out who the new NWO is. And they wouldn't call him the new NWO. That's stupid. They would just call it NWO. And it would just be the 2018 version of the NWO restarted. Whatever. Or second incarnation. And they wouldn't call him that. They would just call him NWO. But I think one of the first people, I'm not. This is the thing. I'm not sure who I would put as the lead NWO member, but I know that the second person I would pick, people would think that that would be the leader. But you'd have to go far to pick another person that really just wasn't in a company currently that would come back, and people will be like, "Oh, what?" Like somebody big that hasn't been on TV in a while that would show up, and you're like, "Oh my Lord." So that's what I'm trying to figure out, who I would put in that spot. But I kind of think I figured it out now. But let's roll with this, okay? So the first member of my NWO that I would choose what was that? Will be a very unlikely person that people will be like, why is he picking up the NWO shirt? And people would be like taken aback by like, oh God, this is gonna be horrible. But it wouldn't be that bad, honestly. But I think it would be an interesting thing, because let's see, Baron Corbin has been like this thing who's kind of been out there. He's been pushed subtly. How do you say that? Subtly. And some people like him. Some people don't like him. A lot of people just don't like what he's doing. But he's been given interesting plot points. And I think they have a future for him, and they like him. He's kind of like a boring Kevin Nash, sort of. And I'm not trying to put certain people in certain spots. That's not what I'm trying to do. There's certain parts that people play. But I think he's kind of the guy that's there that can talk and get on people's nerves and things like that. So if you have Baron Corbin come down, and maybe Kurt Angle comes down and says, right after the NWO, or maybe like after a match, Kurt Angle like just got to the building, and you have Renee Young meet him at his limo or the car he gets out in the parking lot, and says, what's going on with this NWO thing? Do you know who? Have you talked to anybody? What's this all about? And Kurt Angle, maybe says to Renee Young something about, I have no idea. I'm going to the ring. We're going to address the situation right now. Also have to talk about some other things. This NWO thing is not the be-all, end-all, because I got bigger issues to deal with. So they're pushing NWO under the rug. They're not worrying about it right now. It's not a big deal because it's not a threat yet. So they wouldn't talk about it too much. Kurt Angle goes to the ring. He's making all these. He's announcing all these matches, whatever, for the next pay-per-view. Maybe they talk about the fallout from SummerSlam, who's going to face the world champion, all this other stuff. Things that are nondescript to the, it doesn't matter to the NWO storyline. And then Baron Corbin's music hit. He comes down to the ring. He talks. And he does the same old shtick he normally does. And at the end, he's like, I got something else to talk to you about. And at that moment, he rolls out of the ring, and the 3 shirts are still on the announce table. He grabs one, and Kurt Angle, before he gets back in the ring, Corbin's outside the ring, and he's holding the shirt, and he holds it out, and Kurt Angle's like, I know we got to talk about this, but it's not really, we don't really have time to deal with this right now. Baron Corbin takes his shirt off and puts it on. And as he's doing this, the crowd realizes what's happening. And Kurt's like going, he's saying on the microphone, wait, whoa, whoa. And at that moment, everything starts to fall into place. Baron Corbin comes in. Maybe he hits End of Days on Kurt Angle. knocks him out, leaves, gets out of the way. This is me fantasy booking. Like I said, the NWO's return. Baron Corbin, first member, within the first hour. So you know about every hour there's going to be a new member revealed. And they would do this in 1 week. They wouldn't wait. They wouldn't do it every week. There'd be a new member. No, the initial 3 would be automatically it'd be set in stone. So it'd be a huge bombshell dropped 1 week on Raw. No one would see it coming. It would be something like hugely over to the point where people would be like, wow. Roman Reigns comes out to have a match. He's scheduled for a match. He lost against Brock Lesnar. He did not win the Universal Championship. Brock Lesnar is still the World Heavyweight Champion. Or the Universal Champion, whatever. He has a match with somebody. It doesn't matter who. It's somebody that's a heel. Who's like somebody? Elias. He has a match with Elias. Elias does a shtick in the ring. Elias is not in a feud currently. He's not getting in a feud with Roman. It's not happening. It's just a match. Whatever. Nothing special. Elias doesn't attack him after the match. Nothing like that. Roman has the match won. He wins the match. Halfway through the match, Baron Corbin comes out to the ring. And the people are paying attention. Because they're looking at each other and they're all, I think what they should have happen is, Baron just standing like right in the aisleway. So the people were like yelling like, what the hell, Elias? So people were like thinking Elias is going to be the guy to join NWO. And this is where I think that a lot of people might think, okay, well, Roman is going to be the leader of the new NWO. But it's not. But after the match, Roman would beat Elias, spear, nothing special. Baron might try and jump up on the apron, and Roman would act like he's going to hit Baron Corbin, but then stop. When he realizes he can beat Elias, that's what the crowd thinks, and he turns around and hits a spear on Elias. It's over. He pins him, 1, 2, 3. Baron and Roman exchange glances. Roman goes over the table where the NWO shirts are at. Baron comes around the corner of the ring. Roman grabs a shirt. He takes off his vest. Slams it on the ground. Takes off his shirt. Rips it off of him. Puts the NWO shirt on. The crowd explodes. I think the crowd would sort of explode, but then be disappointed. They may boo the fact that Roman's going to be in the NWO, because they initially are probably going to think that Roman is going to be in the New World Order. When this happens, immediately Renee Young is backstage. She's getting comments from Kurt Angle, asking if he's okay from earlier in the night, from the end of days, from Baron Corbin, and saying this NWO thing is becoming kind of major. Roman just put on a shirt at ringside. Now it's Roman and Baron Corbin side by side. And you see them shake hands at ringside. Baron Corbin and smiling side by side at ringside as they walk back to the back. Now this is starting to become a big deal. Renee Young's asking Kurt Angle about it. Kurt Angle's like, I have no idea what's going on. All I can do is sit back and see what happens. But I'm telling you right now, he said, next week, Baron Corbin's going to have hell to pay from me. That's all he says. So now we got the beef going with Kurt Angle and Baron Corbin, who is pretty much, you can guess that Roman's the leader of the NWO now. Now people are wondering, well, who's going to be the third guy? Is it going to be somebody little? Is it going to be like Titus O'Neil or something like that? The main event comes. You can only imagine it would be like an Intercontinental title match or something like that. And it would be maybe Seth Rollins getting a shot against Dolph Ziggler. Roman comes to the ring. Baron Corbin comes to the ring. And they're standing on the apron. And Seth almost has the match won against Dolph. It's an Intercontinental Championship match. Maybe it's a rematch from SummerSlam. This is the last opportunity for Seth Rollins, or he does not get a title shot again. People are on their feet in the crowd. When they come out, it's like halfway through the match, and you can tell that it's about time for the match to end. Roman, I'm thinking about it in my head. That's why I'm laughing, because it's going to be funny when I say it. And people, the reaction, I would love to see the comments. What do you guys think about the storyline? Because I think it would be interesting, and I think it would be something that WWE hasn't done in a while. And I think it's something that they have never done. That would be very superly entertaining. But Roman and Baron would be on the stage, and Kurt Angle would come out, and he would basically say, whoa, hold on, guys. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know who the third guy is. I don't care who the third guy is. But you guys need to get out. And all of a sudden, as he's talking, you hear the announcers. You hear Corey Graves saying, RKO out of nowhere. And Seth Rollins gets hit with the RKO. The referee is looking at Kurt. They can't see anything. And as soon as that happens, Roman and Baron just walk toward the back, and Kurt Angle turns around, and he sees Randy Orton slithering back into the crowd, and the shirt is no longer at the announce table. And Dolph Ziggler pins Seth to retain the Intercontinental Championship with help from Randy Orton, who currently is a SmackDown superstar. But as the show is ending, you see in the parking lot Roman putting his fist out like the Shield, and Baron is looking at Orton and saying, no, that's not how we roll. We don't even know that crap. It's time for us to change things around here. That's all you gotta say. That's all you gotta say. New NWO. Randy Orton, leader, Roman, Baron. Where do you go from here? Only time will tell. But I'll tell you who I would get next time. I would go to SmackDown. And the next people I would get would be the Club. That's the next people I would get. I think it'd be interesting. I think every week they would go to a different show. They would pick up like one or two people for the first like 4 weeks. And then after that, it would be just a stop. Don't get any more. And then slowly they'd be swapping out members. But I would get the Club, and then following on Raw, I'd get the Ascension. And start putting the guys who aren't normally on TV, putting them in NWO. And the thing about that is, it would put them over. Because as soon as you put an NWO shirt on them, I would have them win matches. And that would be kind of like their, what do you call that? Their gravitas is back. Because you gave them this, inspiration that they're in the NWO. That they would want to do good in the ring. So there you go. There's my thoughts about bringing back the NWO. You'd have the scene at the end of the thing. What would happen the week after? I mean, you can only guess. I think it would be good with Randy Orton going to both brands, Roman going to both brands, Baron going to both brands, showing up, wreaking havoc, however you want to say it, and be interesting. I think it's something different that they haven't done before. I mean, most of the wrestlers, I think, hang out backstage anyways. I think for the most part, a lot of wrestlers do that. And I think that, they wouldn't have to go on both brands forever, just when they first started out. I think, probably for the first couple months, they probably want to go to every show, to get their heat up. And then to figure out, maybe Kurt or, Paige or maybe even Triple H will come out and say, hey, you guys got to pick a show. You guys just can't be running about. You guys are under contract. You're under contract to SmackDown. You're under contract to Raw. And then Randy Orton could step forward and say, well, if you're going to pick us to go on a show, we're all going on one show. So pick where you want us. It doesn't matter. And then they can have a bid to see who they want to get the NWO. I don't know how they would do that. Maybe they would play a game of poker and whoever lost got the NWO or something. I have no idea. Loser gets the NWO on their show. They have a match like that. They wouldn't pick Roman, that's the thing, because he's in NWO, and it'd be second fiddle to Randy Orton. So that'd be a good feud later on down the road. When they do decide to maybe pull Roman from the group and make him a babyface again, it'd be a good thing to do. I think it'd just be a good idea. So there you go. Hope you like the idea. Leave your comments down below. What do you think about that? Who would you switch with one of those three members? I think it's a pretty good thing. If you think about it, you kind of want them. Orton's a great talker. He's got that heel persona that people can kind of like, but they kind of hate him right now anyway. So that's why I kind of picked him. He kind of made the fit pretty good. Anybody else, I don't think would be shocking that he would be like a leader of a faction that's going to be a big deal in the WWE. People wouldn't believe anybody else. Samoa Joe wouldn't work. Owens wouldn't work. Sami Zayn wouldn't work. It has to be somebody on a high caliber totem pole. You know, I mean, you can say John Cena turning heel would be the equivalent of Hulk Hogan, but no, it wouldn't work. If that was the case, then it would have to be like the following week, and we didn't know who the third member was, and they would have to drag it out to a pay-per-view and do something like that, where it would kind of be like Bash at the Beach, and Cena turns heel. But ultimately, I think that if they were going to do that, they would do a double swerve, where maybe Cena would act like he's going to turn heel, or they would act like, you know, Cena would be the third guy, and ultimately it wouldn't be him, it'd be Randy Orton anyway. So, you know, that's what I would think that they would do. And then that could be a whole thing with, if they did it that way, they could do a whole thing with kind of like the Sting thing, except he's not going to be like the Black Crow or anything like that, but Cena could try and find like somewhat kind of a different kind of change to his character. That would kind of be an alteration to, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's stale now. He's like all American. Oh, it's over. It's not. People don't want to see that. So, like, it would have to be kind of an alteration to that, kind of to be the Black Crow and kind of to be that guy who's going to end up saving the WWE from the NWO in the long run, and kind of have to be that Starrcade, '97 guy to come in and save, the WWE from the NWO again. This, as Vince McMahon said, this disease I'm going to infect. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz. I'll catch you guys later. Thank you for checking out Breakdown. And keep on watching for more wrestling-related topics and so forth. Keep rocking. Keep watching. Later, guys.